One way to put it, I guess.
Let the record show it's 6 o'clock. We'll call our meeting to order. Sarah, will you do the roll call?
Here.
Linda Barnhart.
Present?
Eric Goff.
Here.
Shannon Norton.
Present.
Tim Lewis.
Present.
Daniel Gant.
Here.
Michael Bush.
Here.
Ronald Truitt. Roy Barrett.
Okay, we do have a quorum. The next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda, and I don't think there's any changes that have been made to it since we received it.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Goff to approve the agenda, second by Mr. Gant. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is approved. There may have been some confusion with the 2 sheets of paper up here. I'm going to try to explain that to you. If you want to address the commission for anything that's on your mind other than a project that is on the agenda, okay? This is your opportunity to do that. If you just want to speak regarding a project that's on the agenda, then that is your entitlement whenever the public hearing is opened. Okay? Are there any questions so that we have that all clear? Okay. There's no one then that wishes to speak under the open governmental regarding anything that's on their mind. Okay? Let the record show that there's no one to speak. Approval of the meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Goff, second by Mr. Gant to approve the meeting minutes as submitted. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting minutes are approved.
Abstain due to absence.
Abstain due to absence.
Okay, let the record show that Mr. Hardy and Mr. Bush abstained due to absence. Okay, we have 3 public hearings. The first public hearing is Nadenbush Pines.
Yes, this is a request for final plat approval. The project is Nadenbush Pines, Phase 3, lots 46 through 53 and 59. The file number is 2412-399. The developer is ILA Properties Incorporated. The surveyor is Robert Land Surveying. It's located in the Arden District, map 19, parcel 3.2. This project is located on Nadenbush Lane, approximately 1 mile east of its intersection with Winchester Avenue. The final plat proposes 9 single-family lots on approximately 3.31 acres to be served by public water and sewer. The final plat meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance 2009. Therefore, staff recommends final plat approval contingent upon receipt of surety in the amount of $60,699.60. Plat to be released upon receipt of surety and developer's agreement.
Okay, thank you. This is the public hearing for Nadenbush Pines. If you have something that you want to address the commission regarding this project, please come forward, state your name, your address, and what you have to tell us.
Hello, everybody. My name is Robert Wickham. My address is 33 Briarcrest Circle in Martinsburg, West Virginia, in the Nadenbush Pines community. The purpose of me coming today is because we noticed this hearing. I've lived in this community for the last 4.5 years. Moved in February of 2020 or 2021. As such, we've had numerous issues with the builder. Now, no specific housing items aside, the main thing that I want to point out is in regard to the stormwater issues. I actually have the report here that was published by your stormwater David Billmeyer on 1/9/2023. This is a 34-page document that annotates a number of different issues with the stormwater system. Now, since this report in 2023, there has not been any progress made in anything. I also have here a copy of a number of pictures that I had taken, some taken just a few years back when dealing with David, some taken yesterday in regard to the crazy overgrowth that has gone on between various different homes. Overgrowth that has caused still water, rodents, insects, a number of other different things, garbage accrual, things of that nature between the homes. I brought a copy of the HOA tenants, to which the builder does cite in the HOA tenants that the common areas do refer to the stormwater management and drainage spaces. And then further in the tenants, they do also mention here that the association would be responsible to maintain, repair, reconstruct, or replace any issues with these areas, and they have failed to do so. To my understanding, in some of the previous conversations that I've had with the stormwater individuals, I was told that if these issues were not fixed prior to the HOA being converted to the tenants, that anybody in the community would be responsible for making these changes. Now, whether or not the numbers were correct, somewhere along multi-thousands of dollars to get these issues fixed, definitely should not fall back on the community. Another thing that happened recently was an email regarding HOA dues increasing. The builder currently holds the HOA, and there is no board. We have no list of a board or anything of that nature. So when the increase in the HOA dues came, I have here an email that I initially sent on March 18th of this year through April 14th of this year, to which I received no replies from the builder. At that point, technically, my dues were then overdue. Afterward, they did finally respond and mention that they were working on obtaining a management company to come and take care of things, which was all well and good. However, they failed to provide any information whatsoever on how the HOA is doing anything to maintain the common areas, how the builder will improve or complete the issues with the stormwater system, and ideally they can't provide us any information whatsoever. So I understand that the builder is seeking to have their final bond release. To my understanding, the last bond that was requested was also not fully released due to the stormwater issues, and those issues have not yet been resolved. So I don't really understand. This is all very new to me, but to have the next or the final bond released when there are still a number of issues that have not yet been touched. I have I think 6 or 7 other members of the community here that also plan to speak out on similar issues, as well as issues with their own properties themselves. But it's definitely not creating a good environment. Like I said, rodents, insects, things of that nature, improper drainage, which creates different molds and stuff like that. Me personally, I have allergies to mold and everything like that, so it's difficult for me to be in my own backyard because I'm dealing with mildew and everything else like that, which is hazardous to my health. I don't know if I'm able to provide you any documentation. I don't know.
You can give them to the lady.
But that is, I think.
I will tell you, they're not seeking bond release.
Okay.
Okay, they're not seeking a bond release. They are looking for final plat approval contingent upon surety being posted. So that has not happened yet.
Okay, so, but in terms of any of this, I guess, so they need approval to continue building homes. Am I understanding?
Yes,
Okay.
I believe so.
Okay, so then I guess the main argument here is rather than them continue completing the community, I think it would make perfect sense to make sure that the community is livable and safe for all of the residents that currently reside in that community.
Okay.
And I will provide the pictures, tenants, and other documents over here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody to represent the project? Oh, okay. Yes, please come forward and,
I'm Trevor Lloyd, ILA Properties, the engineer.
okay.
I'm sorry, who are you with?
Trevor Lloyd from ILA Properties.
Okay, if you want to just take a seat on the
Yeah.
front there, we'll listen to the rest of the people, and then we'll answer any questions that they may have. Sir, come forward.
Good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners. My name is Federico Caldish, and I live on Lot 42 in the Nenetbouch Pines subdivision. And although I'm here speaking only for myself, I share many of the concerns held by the other homeowners in the community.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I have 12 bound packets with my written testimony and supporting exhibits. May I provide to the clerk so that she, okay. Just a second. Do I need to, okay, sorry.
Right here.
What for you? So tonight, the developer is requesting the final plat approval of Nathan Butch Pines. And before the next plat is signed, I'm asking the commission to make sure that previous phases are where I live meets the stabilization standards you adopted. So I closed my home in the summer of 2022, and like any new owner, I was expected the usual punch list routines, planting shrubs, meeting the neighbors, etc. What I didn't expect was to spend 2 full growing seasons trying and failing to coax a lawn out of construction field. I followed all the steps. I watered, I seeded, and I even laid down straw for moisture. Others tried the same and failed. Some even hired landscape companies so that they could have their dream lawn. When my 1-year warranty came up, I submitted a written claim, Exhibit A, item 6 on that list, showing the bare, eroding soil around the house and asking the builder for the required topsoil. The answer was more or less, there's nothing we can do. Exhibit B includes some photographs taken at that time from my property, which illustrates those issues. Weeks later, as mentioned before by the other homeowner, Robert, there's a post-construction report, Exhibit C, where the county inspector documents the same problems. Section 3, items 131 to items 133 cover the slope and culvert behind my house. He notes erosion, sediment buildup, and insufficient topsoil. And it's clear that he states that the homeowner should own accountability for that. So 2 growing seasons have elapsed since that directive. Allow me to describe the scene if you would stand on my porch today throughout the year. So during the spring and summer, there's a patchwork of weeds, mostly crabgrass and clover, plus exposed shale and fill. Turf-type grass covers well under 30% of the surface. Autumn and winter, almost all the thin grass goes dormant along with the other weeds. So it's normal that the overall coverage drop, leaving bare soil fully exposed to rain and freeze thaw. As I mentioned before, the surface is still a patchwork of weeds, clover, and exposed shale, and there's barely an inch of soil over construction field. So seed never takes. Look at Exhibit D, please. You can see exposed subgrade fill with quarry rock and shell flakes on the surface and no organic layer visible. West Virginia Construction Stormwater Journal Permit states that, and let me read so that I don't miss it, a final stabilization requires that the site has healthy, vigorous stands of perennial grass that uniformly covers more than 70% of the ground. If we dig down even more, we hit gravel, and there's, as I mentioned before, there's no sign of a 4-inch layer for a good topsoil that the county and the DEP manuals require for final stabilization. Exhibit E, you have some of the receipts from my own investments, and I know that there are other homeowners that actually invested more time and more money into their lawns, and they were not successful. When it rains, water sheets across the lot and ponds on the roadside gravel, plainly violating Stormwater Ordinance Section C-502, which requires positive drainage. Every rain leaves rills, and we can have a look at Exhibit F, which clearly illustrates a side-by-side from June 2023 till this month, May 2025. The only thing that's changed is the season, not the soil or the grass. The green you see is mostly crabgrass and clover. December 2023, Exhibit G, the builder made a token pass at the problem. A crew apparently worked on one of the sides of my house, on the culvert. They dumped a couple of loads of sand fill and hand threw some seed across in that area. As you can imagine, December is not the season to grow anything. So I did some research, and at that time, the temperature of the ground was below 45 degrees Fahrenheit. So, and there was not even a mulch or fertilizer or erosion mat. The builder may cite a warranty clause that tries to waive responsibility for the grading and erosion, but that clause only applies when the work complies with the governing laws. Your inspection report and my photographs prove it does not, so the waiver simply doesn't apply according to my own perspective. And that brings us to the solution and remedy that this commission already holds. And I'm not sure if I'm making the right statement here, because I just hear what you said about the bond, but what we are asking, or I am asking, is to pause any new permits in that community until the existing phases are compliant. Give the developer a timeline to do what should have been done, in my case, in 2022, in the next growing season, which is place at least 4 inches of topsoil, lay sod, and clean the culverts. And if that deadline passes and it does nothing, I don't know if we can call it bond or not, or the next phase, it shouldn't be approved. And I finish with my last statement, saying that we need to protect the county stormwater compliance, protect neighborhood property value, which will bring future tax revenue, and a spare future of homeowners, the first station my neighbors and I lived with since 2022. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Would you give Mr. Trevor
Yeah.
a packet? Okay, anyone else wish to speak regarding Nadenbush Pines?
Hi, my name is Lauren Adcock. I also reside in Nadenbush Pines development at 64 Bonita Pine Trail. We were one of the first houses to settle in the development. That was in January of 2020. It was our first house. We were really excited. We got a VA loan. My husband is a veteran, disabled veteran at that, actually. And it was part of our loan process that we had to have some sort of seeding take place. They did put down the hay, the straw. That didn't take. I had them come out several months later because, nothing's going to grow in January. They came out and made a very sad attempt to also throw straw down again. I asked them to come out and do like the water seed or the hydro seed or whatever. They said yes, but then never followed through with that. I'm not as prepared as my neighbors with paperwork and receipts. I did not think that this day would come where I would get to speak. The builder has been uncooperative at best to address any concerns. We have a lot of neighbors have concerns within their houses, not just in the lawn, but we're not discussing that here today. We have aerated, we have seeded, we have bought topsoil, we have tried numerous things, just as everybody else has said, and I'm not going to put you through another speech of that. But I do want to bring up the fact that it is very apparent that what happened when they dug down to build our houses, they just pushed the soil that was at the top down and did not put anything on top. I have glass, pieces of beer bottles, pieces of headlights, pieces of other cars, just tiny pieces, but every time it rains, it comes to the surface of my rock. Can't call it dirt. So I'm constantly I wish I would have kept them all and put them in a jar or something, but there's constantly glass coming up. The stormwater management people have been out to my property as well. They stated that part of the problem with the stormwater comes from not having grass on the lawns. They said that is where it starts. So I believe that is in the report that Mr. Wickham had provided you guys with. I just wanted to offer my support, my tidbit. I want you guys to realize that this is not one or two houses. This is several houses in the development. And not all of us could be here tonight, but I just want to make a good representation with what we have here today and bring it to your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name's Josh Nelson, and I live at
I'm sorry, what'd you
Josh Nelson. I live at 131 Stetson Drive. To begin, as those have already spoken, the rock that was put at the top of the neighborhood and said to have been put through all of the neighborhood, as he said, it was only put in one location. If you were to go down Stetson Drive, it goes down into what would be a gully, or even at an aqua park, a water slide during the 2 inches of rain that we just had. My culvert, my neighbor's culvert, my neighbor to the left culvert catches about 3 feet of rain every single time that this rain happens and occurs. All of the water from the neighborhood comes to our neighborhood, to my culvert.
Excuse me.
I can ask a question.
Well,
Somebody's phone is going off.
it's my phone.
I understand. That's the second time, and his phone went off earlier.
Well-
I don't understand. It's not very respectful.
At a public hearing. Excuse me.
I would like everyone to be present.
I apologize.
Of course, not a problem. Now, as I was saying, at the bottom of the neighborhood collects every inch of rainwater that comes in. There's no way that 3 feet of water should fulfill a culvert that's in there for emergency purposes for if we were to have a monsoon style rain each time. My neighbor to my right cannot mow his lawn a week or two after because it catches because of the grading issues off of the back hill that comes from the 2nd Street into his backyard, where he has attempted to put upwards of $1,000 or more into seeding, soil, fertilizer, and even being able to mow back there. His $4,000 fence is at risk every single time that it rains because it's at risk of being pushed away by all of the soil and all of the rainwater that is surfacing into his backyard. He cannot even use his backyard after it rains for probably a week because there's so much water sitting in his backyard. I myself have an $8,000 fence sitting in my backyard that I would like to see standing because it's $8,000 of my hard-earned money that we put into our home for a company that decided to not do anything to our services. I had to dig a 3-foot trench 6 feet away from the back of my fence just to protect my fence. There's no way that should have happened a month after we moved into the house. At no point should that have happened. If you were to drive down our neighborhood, through my street, and look to the right, there are people that have 15 railroad ties to try and redirect all of the stormwater from the top of his house and their kids cannot even play in their backyard because there's no grass, all rock, all shale. There's no way that a child can go back there. There's no way that a pet can go back there and have an enjoyable time. And if you all would sit back there and have a good time, that would change my mind. But each one of you would not enjoy any of that. People just put fences in because it's so hard packed now, 3 years after we moved into the street, that fence posts will sit in. Prior to that, if someone tried to put a fence post in, it would move because the rain would push it out of the way. At no point have I spent, in the $3,000 that I've spent over the last 3 years trying to get grass to grow in my yard and spread the soil myself, has anyone from that company reached out to assist me in any call, any email, anything placed forward. There has been no response until recently, as Mr. Wickham just stated earlier, that they are only attempting to find a solution for our HOA. Our HOA is not registered with the state at all. They have not presented us with the funds, the $100 that they're supposed to provide us as the $100 that they paid to register each year our HOA. They have not told us where our fees go. There's been no one to maintain the culverts or any common areas. It's all trees, all shrubbery. We have to get in there ourselves. Now, if an 85-year-old man has to get in his own 3-foot culvert, there's absolutely no way that that should happen or be acceptable. We have paid our dues, which have gone up without reasonable expectation or reasonable notice, and we have received maybe 2 plows in the last year. That's it. There's been no one to mow a lawn. There's been no one to take care of the culverts, no one to maintain any common areas. The front of our neighborhood looks like a jungle. Surprisingly, you can see that pink sign to be able to notify that we could get here. Last year, we wouldn't have been able to see the turn in to be able to come in. Not only is that a danger hazard to the children that play in the front of the street and all of the houses, it's a danger and hazard to all of any car trying to turn in and out, whether that's a delivery truck, someone coming home from their day-to-day to see their kids, or just their kids trying to go out and have a good time. At this point, we would just like to see change and them not to get a single penny more on any of their bonds because they have not deserved it. They've done nothing to prove to the rest of the neighborhood that they deserve anything.
Thank you.
My name is Lori Brinzo. I live at 48 Bonita Pine Trail. I live right next door to Lauren, who was up earlier. When we moved in, I couldn't believe what the grounds looked like. We moved in 2022, and I asked Lauren right away, what can we do about this property? And she said, not much. And that's exactly how it's been. I have to watch every time it rains. I go out and check because, as Lauren said, glass comes up through the ground, and I watch my 3-year-old granddaughter, and I have to make sure all those pieces of glass that I'm finding are picked up so that she doesn't pick them up. My husband and I took 3 days to plant a juniper bush because we couldn't dig past the shale. My husband is 78 years old. He's a disabled veteran. And that's what it took us, 3 days to plant one bush. So now we have landscapers come in to put in trees. There's no trees, there's no grass, there's nothing to withhold the little bit of dirt that's there. And I say dirt because there's no soil, there's no grass. Patches and patches of just broken shale in the backyard, in the front. The culverts in the front of the house are filled with rocks, mud, and debris. And behind our house, as was said, it is just a mess of growth. There's garbage that may be blown from garbage cans, all collected in there. Signs from houses, nothing is picked up, nothing is cleared up. Now, I came from the state of Vermont, which is an absolutely beautiful state, and there's beauty all around West Virginia. Beautiful areas. And I want where I live to be a beautiful area too. And it's not. It's not being upheld by this builder. Now, when we got our first HOA bill, it was made out to the previous owner. So I wrote and said that we purchased the property. I gave the date. The same letter was sent back to me with the person's name crossed off, and I was told that I owed a penalty because I didn't pay on time. So I wrote back again, I made my payment. I asked for them to please correct the owner's name, put it in my husband's name and my name, which we never got, we did get another letter with our name, and I said I will not pay a penalty charge. This year, I got another HOA bill with no explanation of why the fee went up. No one does anything there to care for that community as they're supposed to be doing.
Thank you very much. Okay, if anyone wants to speak regarding something other than what's already been said, please come forward. If you just want to reiterate the stormwater, the conditions of the property that we've heard already, I'd ask you to kind of hold back on that a little bit because we do need to get through everybody who wants to speak.
I did want to say something more other than the water. We had a pipe burst. Our master bathroom pipe burst during winter. We had to have a plumber come in and reroute our plumbing because the whole inside of our closet in our master bedroom was flooded. Our front bedroom, we had company staying, and they said, "Lori, we can't stay in that room. It's very cold. I don't know if there's any insulation." Because my husband took a meter and it's 54 degrees in there in the wintertime. So this has nothing to do with the water, but this does have to do with the building itself.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Angela Gregory. I live at 130 Stetson Drive. I just wanted to add that we live beside of Joshua, and we are one of the neighbors that we have invested thousands of dollars because of the water backing up in our yard. We cannot utilize anything in the backyard because of the erosion. There's no grass. We have about 3 feet out from the back patio to actually enjoy ourselves. And I feel like my house has moved. Doors will not shut. We got places in the cabinets. My bushes I planted about 3 years ago has moved over into the runoff ditch. And I just wanted to say that this builder has been the most difficult thing I have ever had to deal with in my life. And I do appreciate your time, and I just wanted to talk about the water in the backyard. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rhonda Catlett. I live at 100 Stetson Drive. I bought my house in November of 2021. I brought to their attention my air conditioner stinks in the summer. I brought it to their attention in April of 2022, in August of 2022, and at my 11-month checkup in October of 2022. I was told all 3 times it was in my head. I'm still, just this past week, am smelling the stench of sewer coming from my air conditioner when it gets hot and humid. I had to put rocks underneath my fence to keep the storm water from washing away stuff, which has caused my neighbor's yard to have a big gully. My fence is leaning from the storm water, and I've got to have that fixed as well. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Casey Petefish. I live at 98 Sanibel Way in Naidenbush Pines. We bought our home in March of 2021. I have a lot of the same issues that my other neighbors bring up. I did want to bring up the soil and actually the slate that are under our houses. So we feel like there was inadequate soil preparation across the neighborhood. The subsoil here is slate, which naturally resists absorption and makes proper drainage more difficult. No meaningful layer of topsoil was placed over this slate base, and little to no grass was established during the construction. Residents have spent thousands of dollars trying to seed and repair their lawns, but without topsoil, the grass will not grow. We are left with hard, eroded patches that feed directly into the drainage issues and make the stormwater runoff even worse. In addition to these visible concerns, homeowners have also, myself included, reported issues like cracking drywall, doors that won't close, and signs of shifting in their homes. While we are not engineers, these kind of problems are often linked to poor site preparation, unstable or eroding soil, and improper grading, all issues we are all experiencing. Given the presence of the slate subsoil, which requires special handling during construction, we are especially concerned that homes may not have been built with adequate site stabilization. These are not isolated complaints. These residents have raised their issues with the HOA directly and with Berkeley County Stormwater. They have acknowledged the problem. And then I go talk to about the HOA not being transferred to us at this time. We will not accept the HOA until these issues are fixed, as we do not want the burden on our community of things that the builder should have fixed to begin with. I personally live in a walkout basement, or a two-story house with a walkout basement in the back. Because of the lack of soil, we have just culverts that have created themselves running down directly into our backyard. We have installed underground drainage systems. Our sump pump runs constantly for days, at least 2 days after any sort of rain happens. The sub pump, which initially drained directly into our backyard, we paid for a person to come in and dig a ditch and put in a French drain for us to filter that stormwater out into the back. But a lot of the same issues that have already been brought up. So I just wanted to speak and represent part of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else that wishes to speak regarding Naidenbush Pines? Okay, if there's no one else that wishes to speak, should we close the public hearing? Huh?
Close the public hearing.
If there's no one else to speak, then we're ready for a motion to close the public hearing, and then we'll get Mr. Lloyd to try to answer the questions. So,
Make the motion to close public hearing.
Second.
okay, I have a motion by Mr. Gant, second by Mr. Bush, to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Public hearing is now closed. Mr. Lloyd, do you want to answer any of these things? Sounds like there's quite a litany of issues out there.
There does. I think I can address a couple of these. A couple of these issues I can't. As far as the accounting, so I'm an engineer. So as far as the accounting for in the billing, the HOA dues, fees, so on and so forth, I can't really answer to any of those. I'm not privy to that side of the business. I can say that the owner has recently as last week, has signed the contract for a property management company to come in and manage the HOA. So that has been done. So the neighborhood should see representation of that contract shortly. And under that, they'll have hopefully a more efficient avenue or delivery vehicle to express their concerns. As far as the stormwater issues go, the ponds are still under bond by the county. And the DEP permit with the state of West Virginia is active, it's up to date, and it is not closed. It is still open. What we're here for tonight is for the 9 houses on the very top of the drainage area that goes into those ponds that that these neighbors have expressed concern about. What we're trying to do here is that last part is we can't ask for the bonds back. We can't close that out until that part up there is finished, because it still has a small part. And we're talking about, like I said, 9 houses. It's actually, yes, those 9 houses up there that we're asking for final plat approval for tonight is the last part of the drainage area for that basin, for that stormwater basin. So if we can't finish the construction on that last piece or that portion, then we can't, close out the bonds, close out the ponds down there. I think I had one more note. All right. Right. So anyway, that's what we're asking for tonight, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay. Planning Commission members, do you have questions of Mr. Lloyd or of the staff?
I'd like to hear from Doug.
Looks like he's got his hand up, so let's hear what you have to say.
Several weeks ago.
Okay, just for the record, this is our county engineer, Doug Smith.
Yes, ma'am. Several weeks ago, we did get some calls about the issues out there at Naden Bush. We do know about this stormwater inspection report that was done a few years ago by MS4. We had MS4 go out about 2 weeks ago, I believe, 2 or 3 weeks ago. I don't recall the exact date. They did take that old inspection report. We did look at it, and a lion's share of those problems, we were able to say either they're done or they're addressed. But however, the threshold is they're still under construction. This area is still under an open land disturbance permit with us and with DEP. So there's only so many things we can force them to do. Yes, they need to get it stabilized, but they can't stabilize it until they get this next phase done, because they can't close the pond because it's a sediment pond at this point. Unfortunately, this development is more of a regional solution where all of this drains into one facility. So that one facility can't get closed until all that upstream area is stabilized. And that will involve some of these lots, because if they're not stabilized, then they're only going to contribute sediment into the MS4 water quality BMPs that'll be in place in the pond. So we are monitoring it. We did give some money back on the bond that was justified, but the rest of it is still parked and waiting until all of this is done. So that's where we are as far as the county and MS4 stormwater inspections are.
So Doug, help me explain this to me
Sure.
in more of a layman's term. So,
Okay.
So the pond is still open
Yes,
because it's being used for sediment.
right.
And once the last phase is done, then the pond will be closed.
When the upstream drainage area has 70% growth into that facility, then the pond will be converted over into a dry detention pond with MS4 filtering, just as it's required by EPA and West Virginia DEP for stormwater management. Yes, sir.
Excuse me. Mr. Lloyd, a couple of questions. So there's reference to the open pond permit, and I understand maybe there's an order of operations things here. Two questions. Upstream, if you have to stabilize now or later, knowing that there are issues upstream, why not stabilize now?
Well, what's uncovered, what we've uncovered up there in the area under the land disturbance permit is rock. So it's not going to get, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't mean to, yeah, I'm not making jokes. It really is hard rock. So
Saying there's rock on the road.
well, I mean, it's right. So there's very little that we can do with the rock up there now, and in order to build the houses, we would have to take that rock out, build the houses, landscape it, do the stabilization.
But how about for existing homes that have the same rock issue?
Oh, for the
Existing
existing phases.
The existing homes are upstream of
Yes,
the current sediment
yes. Some of the
pond.
existing homes are upstream. I think as Doug put it, there are a lot of those issues have been addressed. The report from 2023 has a lot of pictures in it that, yes, it really was like that. Those pictures don't necessarily represent today. There are still some issues. I'm not denying that. But we're working towards a solution.
And in addition to the erosion issues, there were some as-built issues. Have all of the as-built deficiencies been corrected? There's reference in here to culverts, stormwater management facilities, conveyance channels. Have all of those issues been corrected so that they are pursuant to as-built drawings?
The as-built drawings that have been submitted have pertained only to the utility infrastructure and the roads.
I guess whatever was
So-
relevant as of January of 2023.
Right. So the stormwater. So some of those issues were addressed. Some of them have not been addressed, and all of the stormwater is still under bond. So we still have to address those.
Sure, Chris.
The culverts, as they were supposed to be put in.
We can't hear you.
The culverts that have been put in are put in correctly. However, it's the discharge out of the culverts that is causing some problems out there, and the developer's going to have to fix that. You are correct. Is it better to do it now than later? Yes. However, this is the battle, and I want you all to understand that. This is the battle I fight, and so does MS4, every day with every developer in this county. I am constantly being pushed to give a bond back when the half of the upstream area is left in mud. That's not unusual. You can ask Mr. Ross. I deal with this every day. So, yes, should it be done sooner? You have residents living in there while you're doing construction. And that's my response back to every developer. And this is when it gets out of hand, this is where it is. Yes.
Mr. Lloyd, is there a possible, and I know you can't speak on behalf of the developer, but conceptually, is there a possible scenario where all of the upstream issues are addressed with existing homes currently, and then you deal with the new 9 lots as you're closing out those projects?
Well,
can we have it both ways? Can we recognize that there's only so much you can do now, but as to existing homes, address known deficiencies?
There are some things that we can do now.
Like
getting more grass or more vegetation established in the roadside ditches on the right of way, on the public right of way portion, that is something that we can do. But as far as people's lawns, ditches that convey stormwater through people's properties, there's a limit, right? I mean, we all there's a limit to at one point or at some point. There's home ownership and there's development. So at some point, there has to be some responsibility on the homeowner to maintain the grass, which I think the first gentleman actually alluded to on those tenants. So in the HOA agreement. So I can't really speak to the legal responsibility on that tonight. But to answer your first question, there are a few things that we can do now. Ultimately, to fix everything, we would have to get the full drainage area constructed, then come back through and complete everything after that construction, because that construction will just undo. It has the potential to undo what we already did.
That's a question. Do y'all have any rock check dams in the drainage areas to slow the water down to help with erosion?
On the approach to the pond, yes.
Roadside?
Not on the roadsides.
Well, I would suggest that you put some that would help slow down erosion issues.
Well, and some of it too was in the roadside ditches. Obvious that it's wetter than what anything put in there is a control. So it's almost back to the point where the ditches should be armored, whether it's with riprap or
Permanent erosion matting or something, yes.
literally. I mean, you can see that in the photos. I mean, I can tell you that that's where it's headed, but we can only, right now, it's still an open project. There hasn't been a final as-built and bond request sent in. And all we can do is inspect it, and MS4 repeats it every time.
Right.
I can show you the inspection reports. However, until we get to the end, it's literally I anticipate having to force.
I would anticipate armoring that ditch with riprap.
And just be done with it.
Yeah, I mean, you'll spend more money continuing to repair it than you will just to go ahead and fabric it and riprap the whole ditch.
We will definitely reassess.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Madam President, I make a motion that we deny the final plat approval. I think there are known admitted deficiencies, and I think it's been determined that there are interim fixes that could have been done to improve things in the meantime. For those reasons, I move that we deny.
Okay, I have a motion to deny. Second by Mr. Hardy? Oh, by Mr. Goff, okay. I have a motion by Mr. Bush, second by Mr. Goff to deny final plat approval until some issues can be resolved, right? I mean, it sounds pretty bad out there.
Come visit.
Well, wait, no. We don't need that dialogue. I'm just telling you that we hear you, and it sounds like you have quite an issue out there. And we've taken a vote, we've taken a motion here, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the project has been denied. The final plat has been denied.
Could I say something, Madam President? You guys will have another bite of the apple. So as you can see, this commission has heard you. We're going to take some time to look at this. And at some point in time, this will come back before us. We will move forward to approve this if we feel like this has been done what we want to have done. Maybe not what you want done, but if we feel like they have moved forward, you have one more, two more, three more bites of the apple This is not done, it's not closed, the bonds have not been given. We appreciate your time coming here tonight and letting us know that there's an issue. Our county engineer will go look at it, he'll work with the developer, and, you know, we'll work through the process. And it's a process, but you will definitely have another bite of the apple. Thank you.
And you have been heard. You have my concerns. Okay, the next public hearing, if you folks want to leave, we'll give you a minute to leave. Next public hearing is Southbrook, Section 2, Phase 6B.
Yes, this is a request for final plat approval. The project is Southbrook Section 2, Phase 6B, Townhouse Lots 241 through 249, 273 through 290, 354 through 366, and 416 through 428. The file number is 2412-398. The developer is Chandler's Glen LLC. The engineer is Gordon. It's located in the Mill Creek District, map 3, parcel 9. The property is located on Shiley Road, approximately 0.3 miles north of Hatchery Road. This final plat proposes 53 lots on 12.96 acres to be served by public water and sewer. The final plat meets the requirements of the subdivision ordinance 2025. Therefore, staff recommends final plat approval contingent upon receipt of surety in the amount of $875,070. Plat to be released upon receipt of surety and developer's agreement.
Hey, do we have anyone to represent Southbrook?
Hunter Wilson, developer.
Brooke Perry, representing Integrity Federal Services, the engineer.
Thank you. Okay, this is a public hearing for Southbrook. If you have questions or comments regarding this project, please come forward, state your name, your address, and any issues you might have that you want to bring to the commission's attention.
If there is no one, I move to close public hearing.
Okay, let the record show that there's no one to speak under the public hearing. I have a motion by Mr. Goff to close public hearing. Second by Mr. Lewis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing's now closed. Planning Commission members, do you have questions of Mr. Wilson or of Ms. Perry?
No, I make the motion, we accept staff recommendation and final plat meets requirements subdivision 2024. Make the motion, final plat approval contingent upon surety, amount of surety in the amount of $875,070. Plat to be released upon receipt of surety and developer's agreement.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr.
Second.
Gant, second by Mr. Goff, to accept staff recommendation, that is to grant final plat approval contingent upon receipt of surety in the amount of $875,070. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, the next public hearing is Dry Run Estates.
Yes, this is a request for waiver. The project is Dry Run Estates. The file number is 2504-102. The developer is Land LLC. The engineer is Cheat Road Engineering. It's located in the Hedgesville District, map 38, parcel 15. This site is located off Shellbark Lane, which is approximately 350 feet west of its intersection of Dry Run Road and the I-81 southbound exit 14. The developer is proposing 95 single-family lots and 244 townhome lots on 57.61 acres to be served by public water and sewer. The developer is requesting a waiver to Article 5, Section 505-5, Table 5-3 of the Subdivision and Land Use Ordinance 2025 to reduce the required single-family detached lot width from 75 feet to 65 or 70 feet. The developer is proposing a reduction in lot width for 22 of the 95 proposed single-family lots. The 22 lots with the reduced width would range from 65 feet to 70 feet wide, but all 95 proposed single-family lots will have the minimum requirement of 7,500 square feet. The reduction in lot width will allow for larger backyards and a reduction in the cost of infrastructure. Based on this information, staff recommends approval of the waiver to Article 5, Section 5055, Table 5-3.
Thank you. Do we have anyone to represent Dry Run Estates?
My name's Scott Copen. I'm with CRE, the engineer.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Questions or comments from the public regarding this project? Please come forward, state your name, your address, and any comments you might have.
Hey, good evening. My name is Keith Barry, and I reside at 168 Shellbark Lane. I recently returned to the area after retiring from the Air Force and having a second career in law enforcement. And during my absence, I lived in the Tampa Bay area. Coming from a small town, this was kind of a culture shock because, I didn't witness the growth here that I witnessed down there. But having a population of 3.1 million people, I witnessed firsthand the overbuilding, the increased traffic, stress on infrastructure, such as public utilities, and of course, crime. The proposal under consideration does not address any of these issues that I've, been brought to my attention. And I believe that the tax revenue that is generated through the addition of this property would not come close to provide for the roads. We live on a very narrow lane. And of course, the roads would have to be improved. There doesn't seem to be anything that provides for that, as well as the utilities like pumping stations and electrical, things like that, not to mention life safety resources such as fire and law enforcement. The sheriff's office doesn't have sufficient staffing now. And now that the intent here is to add more homes to this area, it's going to disturb the privacy that we currently enjoy. In addition to that, we have the landscape and the wildlife that all this is going to be disturbed. The homes on our street are over 50 years old. The property is settled. We have a lot of rock, and blasting is going to pose a structural risk that usually results in legal issues and higher insurance costs for the residents. And approving this proposal would create significant disruptions and long-term implications that would quickly evolve into an untenable situation for those people who are currently there and have been there for years. We don't live in an HOA. We didn't want to live in an HOA. So coexisting with an HOA kind of defeats the purpose of us residing where we do. And we have absolutely no control over their activities and no input on their covenants. This opens the door for trespassers, for unnecessary traffic on our streets. We witness street racing on Dry Run Road now. Sheriff's office isn't equipped or capable of being able to put that to a halt. They have too many more problems out there to deal with, which are much bigger than street racing. Disturbing the land, it's going to have environmental impacts, and I don't think that that's been addressed. It's going to extend far beyond the conversation we're having right now. In addition to the noise pollution this is going to create, the displacement of the wildlife that's out there. We have a lot of deer that go through our area. Just the approval of this proposal is going to cost the residents that live there right now thousands of dollars in remediation costs if blasting affects their properties. There's stormwater control to talk about, as well as tax implications for services that we neither want or want to use. I believe my neighbors who are sitting there in the back there would agree that disturbing the harmony that we currently enjoy is not in our best interest, and we recommend that this not should be approved. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak regarding Dry Run Estates?
Yes, my name is William Brophy. I live at 93 Cabana Lane. And just like this gentleman said, the streets are very narrow. Twice a year, they come up, they dump rock, they level off. Next rainfall, it's washed away. They did it about, I want to say, 2 months ago. And right now, you could sink your tires into the tracks where it's the gullies of the dirt. It's done washed. Down at the end of my mailbox where they put the sign, they just rushed the rock down there and it's all sitting on the side, piled up. When I first moved here 4 years ago, we went ahead and asked for all water tests because we have well. I'm afraid that's going to damage the well water. And they did a radon test. They said it was the worst one they have seen, the house. They put vents in where, what do you call them, fans that blow the radon from underground on out. And right now, it's steady. It's been steady for 4 years. We bought the house. Blasting is only going to bring it up. When it brings it up, the guy told me it's solid. You can't smell it, you just die. I've got kids, grandkids, that's living in this house, in the basement, because we made rooms for them. And something happens to them, there's not on me. So, the deer, like you said, we feed them. We don't kill them, we feed them. Love to see them. Turkeys, wild turkeys come flying down in the yard. I've got a horse, runs field. All this is going to be damaged. Well, not damaged, but all this is going to be more traffic. And like I said, the street alone has got something has to be done. When they come up and they plow, I've got a neighbor lives on the front of me, on the side. They plow to my street and come up. Half the time she's got to call the city to have them plow her out, even though it's a city-owned street. So, I mean, I just can't see putting this many homes in there. Now, am I opposed to it? I like to see the single-family homes, but the townhomes, no. That's 200 townhomes they're talking about, with 2 cars each. That's 400 more cars, not counting the single-family homes. Coming down a narrow street, coming down a bendy street. And like you said, the younger kids, they're going to race. That's what they do. They race. They jump their cars up, they soup them up, and they race. We used to do it all when we were younger. At least I did. So, like I said, my concern is the kids, the area, the wildlife, and especially the rayon. That's all I got to say. Thanks.
Anyone else wish to speak regarding Dry Run Estates?
My name is Tangi Jones. I live at 172 Cabana Lane on top of the hill. We had radon testing done a while back, and the health department contacted us and told us it was off the charts. My husband has put in stuff into our basement to try to fix that, but we've been in that house for 20 years, so we did have pipes and stuff put in when we first bought that house, but it's not even adequate. We also have stormwater issues. When it rains, our road is the top of the hill, so everything just kind of comes into our yard. And they, like he said, they fix our hill maybe twice a year. They do it in the spring, first rain, it's completely washed back out again, and all the stone is gone. And when they plow in the winter, right before they do it again, the plow just takes it all away. So that road is not going to put up with any kind of traffic. It barely puts up with ours. We all drive vehicles. I drive a Jeep, my husband drives a truck, my daughter drives a truck, because any cars that go up on that hill are just going to be destroyed by the ruts in the road. They're that bad. We have to purposely buy bigger vehicles for that reason. So we would rather this not be this big going up there. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak?
If there is no one else, I move to close public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Goff, second by Mr. Gant to close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is now closed. Do you have questions of the applicant's representative or of the staff?
I just have a question to make sure I understand what I'm looking at. On the concept plan presented, I believe there are 339 lots. Does that sound right? And just today, saw some Department of Highways information about 555 lots. Where's the rest of the development? Mm-hmm. And so this concept plan that has the paved walkways, which was not in the highway, so this is what's presented in the packet with the paved walkways. That's the most recent. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
The only thing that changed was the yield of the lots.
Mm-hmm. And in that changed plan, it's these same lots that we're talking about on waiver. Those are unchanged?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, basically, yeah, the concept plan is reflecting the waiver
Okay.
that you see tonight.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Any other questions? Planning Commission members?
Should we not explain that this is concept and this is just the first look?
Yes,
This is not to move the project forward. This is just a concept plan that we're reviewing tonight. They still have to address all of those things with the planning department and all of that. Mr. Ross is probably going to speak to a little bit of that.
To address a couple of your public concerns, considering the blasting and that, once we go through the planning process for any sort of estimate, blasting, just so the public knows, that is regulated through the West Virginia State Fire Marshal, proper permitting and inspection, proper adherence to blasting areas, comfort to the area. The developer is supposed to be going around to these houses and letting the homeowners know what is going on, when it's going on, and they're actually supposed to do a pre and post construction, just so you guys know.
Pre-blast survey.
Yeah. As for
They do pre and post blast survey plus
seismic monitoring.
seismograph monitoring.
You have to have two.
Yeah.
This fire marshal has one.
Right.
You have to have theirs.
And some of this erosion with the roads and that type of thing, when this is complete, it's going to be paved, so that should go away too.
Well, Cabana Lane is from Shell Bar Camp, back Cabana all the way around to the grass house.
Let me just ask, the people in the back, can you hear the conversation that's going on up here with Mr. Ross and Mr. Smith? Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Cabana Lane is a hard place. Believe it or not. So, it will be improved under their concept plan. Right of way is wide. Right of 50-foot right of way width. So that part would be alleviated. It's not like they're gonna put it on a gravel road. Traffic study as well, we were pushing for more recommendations from drive run back on Shell Bar. What improvement, roadside improvements would be necessary. That's technically road, which is DOH road. I have to work with DOH here, so we were asking for those roadside design guides brought in, whether it needs guardrails, whether it needs whatever it needs, shoulders. In my conversation with DOH, we wrote some of that with them, and obviously I can only recommend size. I'm waiting for DOH.
Aren't we all?
I mean,
Mr. Coker, do you want,
Yeah, I was gonna say, can I just address?
Yeah, sure.
some of that real quick?
Give us-
I know we're preliminary, but, just to make sure everybody can hear me, and I know we're early in the process here, this is just a waiver for lot widths. But the concerns that they brought up regarding, that the folks have brought up regarding the public roadways and utilities and the infrastructure, that's a concern we have as well. It's one that we share. We've been working now for almost a year, actually, with the DOH on a traffic impact study. Our initial, I believe our initial traffic counts were performed last school year, the 2024-25 school year. We've submitted through DOH. We've received comments. We've received comments from Doug a few times, and we actually just resubmitted a revised traffic study to DOH in the county this past Thursday or Friday. At minimum, I can tell you that what we're proposing and what the traffic study shows and the DOH has said and Doug has said is that improvements need to be made at the intersection of Shell Bark and Dry Run. So even going outside of the roads directly in front of these folks' home, we understand that there's a concern out there and something needs to be done with it, and we've proposed some improvements there. We also have proposed improvements to Shell Bark from Dry Run to Cabana Lane. I believe a minimum road width of 18 feet plus paved shoulders. There's places where that road now is only 16 feet wide and has no paved shoulders. So we'd be proposing to make it 18 feet wide, 2 9-foot lanes, striped with paved shoulders to take care of some of those safety concerns. The entrance going up Cabana into Dry Run Estates, right now it's shown as 24-foot wide. It's more of an entrance, a grand entrance into the development, if you will, but it's a shared right-of-way that exists now. That part of the land is associated with the property that we're on, and part of it's associated with the neighbor, but obviously everything is to curb and gutter that road section. All the roads inside the development will be curb and guttered with sidewalks, and I understand the concern. I live in the country myself, and I would be worried if I had a development of this size in my backyard, but the goal is to make this development where people want to stay in it, not go on the neighbor's land. So I think we're addressing those big things. We've obviously already spoken to the Berkeley County Public Sewer Service District. They have capacity to handle this. It will take a pump station that'll be built inside this development, and we'll pump over the hill. And we've also spoken with the city water folks. This is city water out here, not Berkeley County water. And we've spoken to them, and they have capacity for this as well. So I know we're early on with you all, but we've been working on this. My job number on this, believe it or not, is 22072. So I'm 3 years into this thing pretty much, of trying to figure out something that'll work and look at things. So, we look forward to moving this forward and hopefully having a successful project for everybody, including our neighbors. It's a concern.
Planning Commission members, do you have any additional questions?
If none, Madam President, I make a motion that we approve the request for waiver.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Bush, second by Mr. Gant to approve the request for a waiver, and that is just a waiver for the width of some of the lots. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Thank you. Okay, do we want to take just about a 5-minute break? We'll take a break. Hmm?